Hello and welcome to Head and Shoulders, where we cover athletes' performances and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. Before I get into today's content, I'd like to thank everybody. If you're watching this, especially on the 1st of July or somewhere thereafter in 2021, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. We got it before the end of the month. I was thinking we would get it at the end of July. We got it at the end of June. So channel's been up for literally a month and a few days, and we got to 1,000 subscribers. So now we're going to go toward 10,000. I'm going to try to put a stretch goal to get that by the end of November. So if we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of November, that will be a fantastic thing. But for right now, that's a little ways away. Let's get into today's topic. Dalilah Muhammad is ready for revenge in Tokyo. And actually, it's not necessarily like a revenge in the sense that she hasn't been here before. It's more like she's ready to get revenge on Sydney McLaughlin for taking the world record back and then beating her at the USA Champs. Okay, she beat her at the USA Champs. But the defending Olympic gold medalist and world champion is Dalilah Muhammad. And as this picture here, this is after she won the 400 hurdles in Doha in 2019. She's from Rio, the Olympic champion. She's going to be hard to beat. You know why? We're going to go over the stats right here. Here's Sydney McLaughlin. There, we're going to go over the stats. Here is McLaughlin. She's been running very well after she joined Allison Felix's camp. And now she's been working on, she's run the 60-meter indoor hurdles. She's run 400s. She actually got out of this one. She must have, and this is what this is telling me, reached whatever the internal time with her and her coach decided, hey, this is a fast time. You reached what you needed to. There's no point in going to the next, into that final of that race. She's run 60 meters. She's practiced alternating legs, because if you see Dalilah Muhammad's races, if you see their races, Dalilah Muhammad is like, she's able to go through nearly perfectly on every single hurdle all the way around. And Sydney McLaughlin was able to do that this time around. And that just shows the amount of work that she's been putting on for herself, because she's even done 100-meter hurdle races this year, several of these 100-meter hurdle races here, to get herself down to alternating legs, so she can get that strength, the speed, and everything that's necessary to tackle this 400 hurdles. And here we are. Let's look at the results here. That is the world record. The old world record was Dalilah Muhammad's PR, which is 52:16. Nothing, that's not too shabby. There's nothing to snuff at. So she ran a 52:42. What does this 52:42 mean for Dalilah Muhammad? Let's go over this really quick. So Dalilah Muhammad had COVID-19. She had an injury that she didn't think that she was going to recover from and have her first race in the 400 hurdles until the Olympic trials. But she's a little bit ahead of her schedule. And do you know what that means? That's actually really scary in a certain way, because her and her coach did not think that they were going to run this 400 hurdle race back here in May until the Olympic trials on the 25th of June. And while that was almost a month earlier than there, that is scary to think that she had both COVID-19 and a very vast injury. And within 1, 2, and then these races here, these 3, so 5 400 hurdle races, a 400 that really, and if you even look at Sydney McLaughlin, if you look at their open 400s, let's go back here for a sec. If you look at her open 400, she's running nearly what her open 400 is, about a second down, a half a second down actually. And then Dalilah Muhammad's running faster than her open 400 that she posted earlier this spring. So right now, the fact that Dalilah Muhammad went from not knowing if she was going to run her first 400 hurdle race until the Olympic trials to She's run 52:42. Just going under 52.5 was an amazing time. Running in the 52s, anything really, is an amazing time. Just look back at historically at the 400-meter hurdle races and see the winning times, see what it takes to get there, and see Dalilah Muhammad had broken that world record. She first broke it, then she owned it and broke it again and dropped it on Sydney McLaughlin's head. And I'm telling you, this media machine could not wait until McLaughlin took over. They are ready to push her forward. One, she's younger. Okay. She's a young, very talented athlete. And let's go back to here for Sydney McLaughlin right here. She's a young, talented athlete. So of course they want to hype her up. Of course they want to push that forward. But I'm just telling you, just like it was, they were ready. If you go back to these other races, they would kind of brush over. This is more an American standpoint. Just listen to it. If you listen to the American announcers, it was like it was their thing to somewhat brush over Dalilah Muhammad and put more and more emphasis on Sydney McLaughlin. Now, because when she dropped 2 world records on her head, they went back and they did a whole thing for Dalilah Muhammad. I noticed that it was just more emphasis. Just look back at the last championships and then look back at this one, and you can see a difference between the American announcers. And I'm telling you, now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can post it down. If you disagree with that part, I want you to post the actual video and the time frame of where I should listen to. Not just say, hey, no, the American announcers aren't doing that. They're not having special favoritism. You already know this, especially NBC. They will give you a story. Somebody else will win the race, and then they're still focused on the other athlete that they had the whole story with. This Olympic trials, they did something a little bit different because Donovan Brazier didn't do too hot in his whole race. And then what did they do? They barely even mentioned them afterward. They kind of mentioned them here and there, and then they focused on the athletes that were qualifying. In years past, if it was a Donovan Brazier, even back in Rio, they would just be like, Donovan Brazier, this, oh my goodness, let's go get an interview with him. It just focus and stuff the mic down his throat and let's just get him. Whatever the change is, great. That's fantastic because we get other athletes to get highlighted. But on this one, Dalilah Muhammad, she's running 52:42. What is that saying? Injured? Think of her like think of her in the same aspect of Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt was doubted on some of his years when he wasn't running as well. He lost at his own Jamaican trials. And I say his own because he was really controlling that stuff. That was his Jamaican trials, not the Jamaican trials. Okay. While he was there and dominated, it was his Jamaican trials. Let's get that straight. So with this being said, she lost at the 400 hurdles. But if you really think about it, she is ready and clicking 52:42. And she only lost it right before that last hurdle. And then Dalilah Muhammad, Sydney McLaughlin started to pull away from her. Let's put these pictures up. And she started to pull away. Now, the way that the narrative is that McLaughlin closes on Dalilah Muhammad. That is not true. Look back at the 2019 USA Championships in the rain when she broke the world record the first time. And when Dalilah Muhammad came up, they were about even. Shamier Little blew up again for some reason. She's very inconsistent. And like I said, I had if I had a favoritism, it would have been for Shamier Little in that race. It would have been Shamier Little. Come on, let's do it. And in my opinion, she should have really run the open 400 as well. Because if you look at her times, she would have been good enough to qualify in open 400. At least at worst case scenario, made a 4x14. She should have done what Ashley Spencer did and everything. So in my opinion, that was, I felt that one. I felt Shamier Little not having that. And she really still needs to work on a hurdle form. Because over these years, that's leaving her open. That's what happened with McLaughlin right here. As a side tangent here, McLaughlin, when she improved her hurdle form just right now, she did not flub up on the last hurdle. That kept her momentum going. And then that kept her momentum. And then she was able to just keep that speed right there. Now, with that being said, back to the original subject, Dalilah Muhammad, when she dropped the world record the first time, now in Doha, Sydney McLaughlin was chasing her down. But at the USA championships, the qualifiers, it was Muhammad that came over, and in the rain, she dropped the world record on the whole field's head. It was, she got over the eighth hurdle, and then she started to pull away a little bit. When she got in that home straightaway, she was pulling away. It wasn't until maybe 25 or 30 meters to go that McLaughlin might have closed up a little bit of inch. But if you're getting pulled away with about 100 or so to go, and then you start to close up, that's not really closing on somebody. That's right before the line. That's right before the line. And you got distance between you and the other person. It could be a psychological thing where the person's closing up. You got something before, and then it could have just been Muhammad didn't have any other speed right there, and you closed it. She pulled away from her, and then that's when in 2019. So people got the image in their head, maybe because they saw the world championships more often and maybe replayed that McLaughlin just has the thing to close on it. No, Muhammad has the ability to pull away. She just cannot, she won't be able to do it with 20, 30 meters to go. No, she won't be able to close on it. She doesn't have that type of speed. But if she could pull away with about 180 meters to go and then put enough of a gap right there, she'll be able to pull away and sustain that when that last 20 or so meters that McLaughlin might be able to inch up a few meters on. So what am I thinking is going to happen here in the Tokyo Olympics 400 hurdles? If she keeps this fitness and she doesn't get re-injured, because we know that can happen. David Rudisha, world record holder in 800, tried to get back to his form. He re-injured himself, and then he posted up. He's not even going to try to qualify, which it already happened. The qualifiers for the Kenyan Championships, they happened already. So he's not going to be there to defend his title. And so we have a situation here. I'm going to lean toward, in this one, I think I could be wrong on this one. But the way that Muhammad improved, the fact that she was injured and she ran a 52.42, it might take another world record to win. Or it's just one of those situations where both of them are there. Is every time they run these finals, they're dropping the world record. That's 3 in a row now. It's like they drop a world record. Other than that Diamond League championship where McLaughlin got Muhammad on, I believe it was Diamond League. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But other than that, when these two athletes meet, they've been dropping world records. It'll be so interesting to see this drop again, and it'll be 51.5, 51.6 or something like that. And I think at that point, that's well within both of their ranges. Both of them are sub 50. They have the ability to both go sub 50 in the open 400. This will be an amazing race, but I'm going to give it to the defending Olympic and world champion right now, former world record holder, Dalilah Muhammad. What do you all think, and why do you think? And the reason I'm going to say this is because the fact that she improved this much while being injured, had COVID-19 that would have inhibited her. Side note, you know how many athletes have had COVID-19 and they seem to have recovered? Some of them run faster, some of them run as close to their PRs as possible. The 52.42, that is a fantastic time. Let's not kid ourselves. That's a fantastic time, right? But as a side subject, if COVID-19 was permanently damaging the heart and lungs and everything like that, like the hype was before, how come these track athletes seem to be doing just fine? That's just something for us to think about there. A lot of that stuff was a media machine where they took a little bit of the information. I know I'm going to get some dislikes from this one and probably people to unsubscribe. Oh, well. If you don't like it, I don't know what to say. We're not always going to agree with each other, but I followed the science of the initial science that was there. And it was nothing. If it was nothing definitive to say that it was extremely dangerous or not dangerous, then it was also nothing definitive on the other side. Like they always kept saying, we don't know what this thing is, but it definitely does this. We don't know what this thing is, but it definitely does this. And it's always worst case scenarios. It was like, what? Y'all know how the media likes to do. They like to call black people thugs, and then they equal act by a non-black person. they'll say Angel or try to use a good picture. We know how this is. Now, sticking back to the track and field here, I believe Dalilah Muhammad will take the gold medal, and it'll be a hair raising final. Once again, just like at Doha, it's going to be another one of those because they are very close. One final thing here. When Dalilah Muhammad got past, unlike when Sydney McLaughlin got past, now this might be different now because she changed it to Kersey, right? McLaughlin. Now, when Muhammad got past, I didn't see a change in her face or her form at all. She stayed focused on what she was doing, and she was just like, I'm running through to the line. I'm running through. She didn't let up a stride or anything before the line. She probably saw on the projector that nobody was close to either one of them, but she said, I'm running through the freaking line. She is used to doing it. That discipline, that focus, that drive, that means she is able to stay within herself. Contrast that with Shamier Little, where she was clearly ahead of Cockrell, and shoot, who was on the inside of Cockrell? I'm trying to remember the race. I don't want to pull that up right now because of maybe copyright strike or something like that. I think I'll try to figure out how to play that later. But yeah, she was clearly ahead of the two other athletes that were on the outside 2 lanes. And then when she came in the home straightaway, before she had that the stutter step, you already saw the change in her stride pattern, and that she looked a little bit panicked on her face. That was enough to say, oh my goodness. And I watched this thing over 60 or so times, over and over and over. And particularly that spot right there, because I really was like, okay, what happened to Shamier Little? That was my personal, if I had to. Other than that, I just analyze these things and say, I really thought that she would have been able to make it. But with that being said, Dalilah Muhammad's got this. It's going to be a close race again. They always have these close races. And I think whether it's a world record or not, I believe that Muhammad has this because of how her fitness and how she's improved. It's as if she didn't even get injured. And if this was her getting injured, wow, if she continues to run to next year and keep this fitness up, her potential is just being accessed. That is crazy. But anyway, catch you all on the next one.